Howdy y'all, Joe Hills here, recording as I was doing Nashville, Tennessee. As you can tell, there is always more to do. We have got our peaks and valleys, our cityscapes, our lines, if you will, our linescape going on over here. But we still need to add the dark gray blocks. We still need more black and gray and light gray blocks there. Now this area here will stay partially open. I gotta work out exactly how this kind of exit works. It's kind of unclear in the maps, but I'm gonna have to read the descriptions. Probably won't get to that today, but what we will get to is the underside of this is ludicrously perilous. Look at this. This is not safe. That whole thing could just collapse in at any time. Now, luckily, specifications in the book Curse of Strahd, which is based on the I6 module by Tracy and Laura Hickman, and then later updated and modernized by Chris Perkins, is pretty clear that there should be some sort of support here that actually then kind of arcs backwards and looks awesome. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and get that set up. And we want it to be generally centered on the platform here. So I've reinforced that significantly. It definitely looks a lot stronger now. I'm going to end up having to touch it up quite a bit before the final pass, but just for the time being, I don't want people down here in the ocean looking at that piece hanging out and going like, that doesn't really seem like it's supported. So watch, let's hop in our little boat here, swing out this way toward Mumbo's incredible undersea lighting job. Cannot cease to say how impressed I am by that. That's such a good idea. I just want to steal that idea, but with pumpkins because they're cheaper. But yeah, now when you look at that over there, it doesn't look as silly. It looked kind of silly before. Now, even though it's clearly like something relatively thin holding it up, it's at least there's something there. And we'll probably extend that out a bit. Oh, hey, free squid. Whoops. Okay, so might have accidentally lost my boat and my pig there. Can I find the boat down here? Or do I just drown? Okay, so in terms of plans, this is not actually any plan at all. Okay. Good time. Good time. Okay. I think we're gonna have to teleport out of here. Time skip. Oh no. That was not a very good teleport. Time skip. Well, here I am just counting to numbers like 8 or 11 or 12. And one thing that's interesting is that one of those numbers is one more day than Scaramucci spent in his role as comms director of the White House. And this is going to be all over the news. I'm sure you've seen a million different takes on it. So, here's my quick opinion of it. If you are going to skip your kid's birth, get divorced by your wife, and sell your company to take a job, you should probably pick a job that you're good enough at to stay there for more than 11 days. Like, that just, like, to me, makes a certain amount of sense. We can't just be, like, jumping through careers. Like, everybody says, like, if you stay at the same place for more than, like, 3 or 4 years, you're gonna get stuck. And maybe there's some truth to that. But if you stay at the same place for more than 9 or 10 days, you might just be, I don't know, doing the job that you were hired for. And man, it really seems like Scaramucci engineered the ouster of Reince Priebus as Trump's chief of staff just to get General Kelly appointed, who is a no-nonsense, brass-tacks, get-stuff-done kind of guy. And so, all of a sudden, you take this guy that you don't like, that you think is trying to undermine you, and you get him fired, right? And then, in his place, you get this guy appointed who only cares about professionalism and results. And if you're not a professionalism and results-oriented guy, what do you think is going to happen next? Like, I don't know. And there's kind of a cautionary tale here, too, about, like, hey, maybe don't take jobs to be self-serving, take jobs to serve others. Like, because people would feel worse for Scaramucci. Not that he needs their sympathy, he still has a lot of money, even though he lost a lot of it by selling his company, or his stake in his company all at once, and then losing the tax benefits of doing so to take a federal job because he lost the federal job. But, like, people would feel worse for you if you were doing something to help others and bad things happen to you. Instead, you were doing things to help yourself and bad things happen to you. Let's just talk about that. I mean, you can't count on bad things happening or not happening at any given time. But just in general, if you're going out of your way, like, let's assume that there's no karma, just for the sake of argument. This is a perfectly spherical life choices engine in a vacuum. And you are going about your business, and at some sort of random intervals, bad things will happen to you. Now, if bad things happen to you while you are being a good person who helps others, it will be treated way differently than if you are a person who has bad things happen to them when they're only trying to help themselves, when they're selfishly ignoring their family or, just doing all sorts of crazy stuff for attention or his own ego. Like, I don't know. One of the most amazing analyses of this I saw was by Alexandra Aaron on Twitter, who tweeted that Scaramucci is a classic tragic hero, in that his only flaw was every single thing about him. That's hard to dispute. Which, I'm somebody, I like to look at both sides of things, or every side of thing. I try to be very critical. Not like critical of others alone, although I am being critical of one particular person in this case, but like, I like to evaluate things critically. And I really don't see a lot of good about this gentleman. Like, and maybe that's just my blindness. My own background precludes me from seeing the many virtues of this man, but I just don't get the impression that he has those. Like, his Twitter historically was full of political ideals that are completely in conflict with the administration he's serving. So he either thinks that he's going to be able to guide the administration away from these terrible things they've done in the past and toward his own ideas, or he doesn't actually have his own ideas or ideals, and he's just willing to do whatever gets him a cool book deal and makes him feel fun and popular. And I don't know, I'm leaning heavily toward the latter. It is not a great day to be Anthony Scaramucci. And the thing is, like, bad things do happen to everybody. So it might not be a good day to be me later, or a good day to be you. But dang it, I just drank that water. Now I'm extra hydrated. Whoops. But, like, I don't know. If you try to live every day doing your best to help others and, having a kind of healthy approach to improving the world, then when those bad things happen to you, as they inevitably will sooner or later, you just won't be mocked by an entire global online community. It's just one more thing to, like, I don't know whether to laugh or cry. It's, like, there's a classical Italian type of clown called a Scaramouche, which is referenced in Bohemian Rhapsody. Feel free to look that up later. You might be entertained. But anyway, where was I? I was going to go ahead, and it looks like I'm going to need even more ink. It's a non-stop ink requirement factory over here. And I just don't do any real math before I start these large builds. And that is maybe one of my flaws, is I just think, I'll figure it out as I go. And it turns out sometimes that figuring things out as you go is difficult. And I would rather learn that from a video game than somewhere else. Although, realistically, in most of my life, I have to be so heavily prepared, or I have to plan things out a lot, that it's a relief to be able to play a video game where I can not plan things, and then it goes kind of poorly, but not miserably. It's like, this could be a lot worse than having to make potions while I talk about someone else's misfortune, who is one of the few people in the world that I would argue just completely is, like, justifiably being mocked about this. Like, there's good in everybody, but this guy, he goes out of his way to make decisions as though there is no good in him. So, anyway, where was I? I need to go ahead and grab some of these night vision potions, this potion of water breathing here, just get down there, grab some more of that beautiful, beautiful ink. Hey, I do have a little bit of ink, but it's not going to be enough to carry me through. So, anyway, let's go ahead and give this a chug, give that a chug. Everything's already way better. Now, I got to remember, it's still going to be dark outside, so creepers might come get me if I'm not careful. So, oh, this is so relaxing. I gotta say, swimming in Minecraft is so stressful when you don't have the water breathing potion, but now I just feel like I have 8 minutes to just do whatever I want, which in this case is going to be, admittedly, hit a bunch of things with swords that were, you know, alive. So, maybe that's not ideal. But, anyway, recreational squid hunting. Is that a thing? I don't know. I wonder if I could hunt them with the bows and arrows. Would that be more sportin'? Oh, I would lose the looting ability, though. Just kind of a downer. See, are there any more squid, like, spawning in huge herds? Nope, looks like I'm just going to go after them piecemeal. Anyway, let's get back to it. Time skip. Well, as you can see, we've got this whole wall done here. But you know what? You'll notice that it's a little bit too regular about where the lowest valleys are here. So I've got a quick solution to that called a shovel, and then going back up there and putting some more light gray on top. So we'll just knock out, you know, a few of these. Whoops, a few of those. Recursion. Let's see, maybe one of these guys. Just enough that it's not always the same low point throughout here. And there we go. Now it's a little bit more uneven. We'll patch up this part and this part just by climbing back up there, digging down, and adding a gray piece or two, or in this case, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, let's just say 9? Okay, so that looks a little different than the others in some ways here or there. Some of these are, maybe the valleys are a little bit more even. I don't know. Like, I kind of feel like they shouldn't all be too consistent with each other. There's one I gotta touch up. I'm gonna have to touch these all up anyway, here or there. At this point, I should just focus on getting the rough pieces in. So that way we have walls at alls. Because we do not have walls at alls in many of these alls. Boom. They need to get done. Wow, that's already looking way, way better. Except for that one part where the piece of snow is stopping the gravity from coming in. And the other part that still needs segments in place. But all of it is getting better every day. So, thank you guys so much for joining me. I hope you have been enjoying watching this episode. Until next time, y'all, this is Joe Hills from Nashville, Tennessee. Keep adventuring.